We rise again from ashes to create the world anew. Man alive, we needed an injection, a boost in light of everything happening over the past couple weeks with Charlie Kirk's assassination, his killing. You know, I heard it best by Pastor Timothy James Farrell of the Tabernacle, the church that I attend. You know, Charlie Kirk took a bullet in the throat for Jesus Christ. Think about that for a second. Charlie Kirk took a bullet in the throat for his Savior, Jesus Christ. And knowing what we have walked through in the past couple weeks, especially with the memorial service this past Sunday, we needed something, especially here in Illinois, because we happen to be the state that has this gentleman, J.B. Pritzker, Governor J.B. Pritzker. I want to be as respectful as I can be. Our governor has destroyed the state of Illinois morally, fiscally, intellectually, spiritually. He's done nothing but take away from the people. This is a great state, the land of Lincoln. And unfortunately, as you've heard me say many times over, it's become the land of make-believe, because this is all make-believe to them. Crime's make-believe. It doesn't exist, right? That's what JB said. Spending billions of dollars for people who are not here legally in our country and in our state, and protecting them. It's the land of make-believe. Telling young boys and young girls that God was wrong. They aren't supposed to be the sex they are. JB's land of make-believe. Look at where we stand economically in this state. We can't, we can fluff it. We can put a spin on it like JB loves to do by professing that he has raised the credit standing and the reporting services 8 times. He's been upgraded, which still lands us in negative territory, because we can't manage and pay all the bills we have. We continue to go in debt. So it's good to know that there is something on the horizon. Today, I had the opportunity to welcome my good friend, Darren Bailey, to the Bloomington Normal area. It's one of 3 stops he was making via helicopter. And he stopped here, second stop. First stop was in Marion, Illinois. Second stop here with his running mate, Darren and Aaron. It's a tongue twister. Aaron Delmar. They showed up here in Bloomington to tell us exactly what's next steps, right? Everybody wants to know, what's Darren going to do differently than he did in 22? Well, I'm going to tell you. 22, we had J.B. Pritzker running for a second term. We had Joe Biden in the White House. We were under the rule of this overreaching, tyrannical reign that was happening not only at the federal level, but at the state level. This is what's going to happen differently with a Bailey Delmar ticket for governor. We know that J.B. Pritzker is losing ground quickly. We know that we need to take advantage, to exploit. Let's exploit, like the Dems love to do. We need to exploit vote by mail. We need to exploit early voting. We need to mobilize and fortify every county in Illinois. Folks, I get it. He's got his loyalists. They're all on the payroll, right? They're all benefiting from your pocketbook, taxpayer funded. They have no problem living life. They want you to pay more and more and more. And they want you to do without and to suffer and to be utterly devastated by your tax bill, whether that's, your income tax, whether that's your real estate tax, whether that's your state tax, whether that's an excise tax, whether that's tax, everything's tax, gas tax. They love to tax. They can't get enough of it. Quickly saw in the comment section, yep, Ryan Mack, the Ryan Mack Show. Ryan's actually off today. I don't know why he didn't decide to jump in studio. Maybe I should send him a link. Had a really good chat with Aaron, very well planned out what they want to need to do exactly. Folks, we're not going to go out there and give you all of the inside baseball to what we're going to do. You know, I find it fascinating. Here we are, the first of 2 events hosted by the Bailey campaign, and already JB Pritzker is shadowing the campaign, meaning they have sent somebody out to follow Darren and Aaron around. This is what they did in 22. I'm sure that they haven't done that for any of the other candidates. Maybe they have. I don't know. I can't say for certain. But this is their MO. This is what they do. They send out a person, to shadow, to watch what the campaign's doing, trying to, gauge what the campaign is doing. Well, bring them. We openly want to debate. We want to have discussions. We want to get JB in a forum. We want more than just one debate. We want multiple debates. We want him to tell us how it is that in a third term, JB Pritzker is going to do anything different than what he already has done for the people of the state of Illinois. That's what I want to hear. I want to make sure that I don't go too much further in the show without bringing this on screen. This is just as good as it gets. To if you can beat this with a announcement for your campaign, bring it. I mean, this is classic. I thought I had it queued up, but I'm gonna have to go back and re-queue it here. But let me get it on the screen. Don't mind me as I just toy around with the screens here and doing everything that I do in Facebook land. But this is on my Facebook page. Yep, I could tell you right now it's not loaded yet. Let me just shut it off. That way it won't play. But here we go. You ready? Turn up your volume and let's go. Oh, it cut off. I'm sorry about that. I think it's because there's me. Look at that. Let me see if I can reload it. It, for some reason, decided to jump off of I don't know, jumped onto something crazy in the video. But here, I have the ability. It's my show. I can do this. There it is. What an entrance, folks. It's interesting. Ted Dombrowski is going to be appearing right back where Darren and Aaron had that 1:00 meeting here in Bloomington at shout out to the Barrel House. Yes, that's right. The Barrel House. Want to give them a plug. Ray and his staff, my word, you talk about accommodating. If you guys ever need an event here in Bloomington Normal and beyond, as far as a stay, the DoubleTree is it. The food at the Barrel House is amazing. The people at Tentec, their entire enterprise, have got some of the most genuine, sincere, authentic people. Shout out to those folks. Barrel House. But anyhow, as I was saying, Ted Dombrowski, also candidate for governor here in Illinois. Ted's going to show up at 4:30. I think it is what it is, about 20 minutes from now. And I don't think Ted came in a helicopter, so we'll see what happens. I'm going to stop by there after the show just to give a read on the crowd size and things like that. But it's not all about crowd size. It's more about what we are going to do. And I hope collectively we can do that. I'm the first one to say, if Ted Dombrowski is able to mount a victory in the Republican primary, Ted, you've got me 100%. I think you're a brilliant guy. You do a lot of great things for the state of Illinois, especially through wire points and Illinois policy. There's nobody that understands the ins and outs of the logistics of policy like you do. My opinion is Darren Bailey and Aaron Delmar are going to be the next governor and lieutenant governor of the state of Illinois, and we'd love to welcome you as part of the campaign going against Pritzker and then into office, and having you and your voice and your reason in office with us, just like Jim Mendrick. Jim, you're welcome. After the primary, it's time that we all come together. Joe, you're welcome. Max, you're welcome. All are welcome, man. We need you. But anyhow, I put a call out. It's like a genie in the bottle. I put a call out, and look at that. Lo and behold, there he is, the man, the myth, the legend. Golly, I almost forgot what you look like, other than I did.
I know, right? It's been a while.
How does it feel to be back in the driver's seat?
A little weird.
All right, give us your insights to the Bailey campaign and
where things are at. I asked a few brief questions of the two. First and foremost, I'll be praying for safety over tonight's event. I know there's some outsiders who really don't want to see Darren speak, but that's another day. So we chatted.
You mean that you mean the crazies are still out there trying?
Yeah, they're still out there. Actually, I didn't notice at the first campaign that he wasn't getting the haters, and now he is. So it is interesting. But anyway, Aaron, I don't know much about Aaron, so I got a chance to chat with him a little bit. He is so well put together, and he has a well-coordinated campaign of what they want to do. I asked him very pointedly about what their plan is for, getting after the General Assembly and what their attack is for legislation. There's a lot of things they can get done, and they have a well thought out plan. So that was very, very encouraging exciting to hear about.
Well, you don't want to mess with him because you realize he was formerly a UFC fighter. So,
but just in a brief, 5-minute chat, Aaron knows his stuff and knows what he's going to do, and he's going to be a really big part of Darren's campaign. So I'm excited.
Well, you know what? A lot of people, I'm glad you brought that up, Ryan, because a lot of people have been, a little down on Darren's pick as Aaron. Mm-hmm. I've known Aaron now since his days back with Gary Rabine during the gubernatorial race of 2022. I happened to run into him at a couple different functions of different events. One in particular, I remember he had brought his son or daughter to one of the events. And you know what? I was nothing but impressed with him. I mean, it's amazing. Isn't it funny that the same tactics they use on Trump, they're already starting to use on Bailey Delmar. And I already heard rumor that they're going to try to open up this thing about the lawsuit that was brought against Darren and Cindy after the campaign, and they're going to imply that there's, inappropriate sexual things. It's like,
okay.
Are you kidding me? Whatever. Yeah. I mean, what does that have to do with the current state of Illinois? And you're trying to defame or dename or whatever that is, defame Darren Bailey or even Aaron Delmar. I'm the first one to say Aaron Delmar isn't a choir boy. I think he was an altar boy, but he's not definitely a choir boy. And obviously that was a bad joke. I'm sorry.
Well, there's going to be attacks when they see pictures, old 25-year-old photos of somebody with a Democrat. Yeah. They're going to, people that are hurt about not being a part of the campaign are going to say things and do things to kind of hurt the other side.
I have a picture of me when I was a kid with Dan Walker.
Yeah.
You know who Dan Walker was?
I don't.
He walked a mile for Illinois.
Yeah.
He ended up in jail.
Yeah.
He was a governor of Illinois. He was a Democrat.
It's not as bad
governor.
as JB taking photos with the peacemakers up in Chicagoland, just fresh out of prison. I mean, come on. We all know who Darren and Aaron are. So what if they're pictured with politicians of the past? When you're in the political circles, you're going to be seen in some light by some people as not so favorable. I had a lot of conversations.
Hold on, real quick. Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Gary, it was good to see you two today, buddy. You're looking good. Gary's looking lean and mean. He might be able to take Aaron Del Mar on in a UFC fight. Gary was impressive today. Thanks for showing up, Gary.
Yeah.
Go ahead. What you were saying.
Well, just it's amazing that the conversations I've had even on Darren's post about some wanting a more moderate pick for governor to try to sway some Democrat vote up north. And I the same thing I told others, you don't want anybody siding with Democrats at this point. No. That's exactly what we have at the Illinois GOP state party level, making deals with Democrats. We've had enough of that.
You know, Kat makes a good point. Thanks for joining us, Conservative Kat. Pick her. You can watch Conservative Kat every Monday through Friday at the Conservative Kat Show. Yep, she's out there on Rumble. She's out there on YouTube. I don't know if she's on X. I'm going to say that she is, but she's definitely on Facebook. So Facebook, Rumble, X, YouTube, and she might be on one of those fancy little things like Shutterfly or whatever you call that, Spotify or whatever. I don't know. But Kat, I can't believe the lieutenant governor pick sways people one way or another. It's not like Darren is going to leave office. Oh, what's in the way here? I got to get that out of the way as soon as he gets elected, like JB will. Not only that, Kat, the other point is, and I led off today, I had the privilege and honor to introduce Aaron Del Mar. You know, it's not about Aaron, and Aaron will be the first one to tell you about it. It's about getting enough people to show up, to pull the ballot, to get a vote by mail ballot. We need over 2 million votes. We need the votes that Trump got in order to defeat, to fire Pritzker. That the hat says it all. I might wear this hat. I almost forgot, Ryan, that I had this hat in my hat. Mm-hmm. I'm glad I was able to break it out. I love hats, but fire Pritzker, BaileyForIllinois.com. Go to BaileyForIllinois.com. Darren's going to need your talents, your time, your talents, and your treasure. Yes, time, talent, and treasure. Darren's going to need it all, he and Aaron, in order to overcome where we're at with this thing. Hold on for a second. My daughter's calling me, Cassidy. Hello there. I am on my podcast. I love you too. You're in the nursing hospital. Go Darren Bailey. I love you. I'll talk to you later. Right. That was my daughter, Cassidy, working her shift as a nurse, calling me. And then she goes, oh my gosh, I realize you're in studio. It was the microphone that gave it away. My daughter. But I also want to make that proclamation. This show will always be interrupted by 3 people, both my daughters and, of course, Mrs. Producer, who can cut in anytime she wants because she's live right now with me. But never deny your family a time. That to me, that we don't have enough time with our family. Obviously, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. You know, I think of Charlie. You know, he obviously, though he is basking in the glory of heaven, his children will be denied having their dad as they're here on earth. You know, I think that reminds me of somebody said, you know, something about Jesus. I don't quite remember how it exactly went, but the little child responded. He said that he wanted Jesus with skin. You know, and I'm sure that it's one thing to say daddy's with Jesus, which I know that Erica has said that to the children, or at least the 3-year-old, not to the 1-year-old. And at some point, that 3-year-old, as they grow, and the 1-year-old, they're going to want dad not with Jesus. They want their dad with them. They understand the importance and the relevancy and everything that's going to go, and they're going to have enough people surrounding them. But unfortunately, that will never replace the father. And that's the sad thing, is we as a society believe that we can replace dads.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing greater in the household. You want to cure most of the societal ills in our nation, put fathers back in the household.
Absolutely.
All-star dads become all-star dads. But you were saying, I picked that off. But Kat, obviously, great comment.
No,
Kat,
that
you're
was
right.
really good.
We need 700,000 votes. We need 700,000 more votes at least. It's not Darren and Aaron's responsibility. They're going to be the tip of the spear. We, you, me, and everyone, whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, folks, if you don't know what's going on in the state of Illinois and it isn't blowing you away by this time, folks, wake up. Wake up. This man is trying to literally destroy the state. And now he's taken to doing it on a national level where he, for some idea, or I should say for some inkling, he believes he could be the president. But go ahead, Ryan.
Well, I just, my biggest thing is that the Illinois GOP, whoever wins the primary, the state GOP needs to be on board, full support. And one thing I'd like to see different this time is exactly that. The state GOP needs to support Darren and whoever wins the primary. And I believe Darren and Aaron will come out victorious there too. But I believe that unless you have
are you saying unless Ted flies in a helicopter?
Yeah, right. He needs to be like a little bit bigger helicopter, like a Black Hawk Down kind of thing.
Ted, you're going to need a bigger boat or a bigger helicopter.
He beat Richard Irvin by like 40 points in the primary last time.
42.
Okay, so and then he still had butting heads with the state GOP. They didn't want him as the primary winner.
Well, do you know that technically Richard Irvin finished third?
Yeah,
by
that's
point, like 0.2 or something like that. Jesse Sullivan actually outdistanced Richard.
That's
Irvin.
right. I remember that. Yeah. So I think that voters will turn out more this time. I believe that. I hope the GOP is ready to stand with the winner of the party, of the primary. That's more important than, I would say, even, yes, the voting is important. Get the Republicans off their butts and voting every election. But he needs to get the backing of the state GOP. Yeah. That is a huge support tranche of funding, of campaigning, and getting out there after JB after that. But he's got to get the full support.
Yeah. And I think I think that some of this is going to play itself out. Obviously, the Dombrowski campaign, Ted's campaign, has Jeannie Ives and Jason Plummer heading up the campaign, which, now you've got the grassroots campaign against more of the establishment. I don't think Jeannie would like to be referred to as establishment, but, bottom line is, if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, might be a duck. Jeannie, you're following the establishment, and that's okay, because we need the establishment. We need the establishment. We need the grassroots. We need everyone to be involved in this campaign. So, okay, let's have our primary, but let's do something different than we did in 22.
Yep.
When it's all said and done, let's create a coalition. If Darren and Aaron finish second behind Ted, then it's time for us to come alongside Ted.
Yes.
If Jim Mendrick wins, it's time for us to come alongside Jim. If Joe wins, it's time for us to come along Joe. Max wins, time for us to come alongside Max. I don't care which Republican wins the primary, because at the end of the day, the magic number is 700,000 votes. We need 700,000. It's a little more than it's exactly half of the votes that we got the last time. So we need to get as many votes as we got the last time, plus half more, 700,000. That's what we need. And the Illinois GOP, I'm tired of it, and I have a lot of opinions about what is happening, whether it's Dan Proft, Jeannie Ives, whether it's Tom DeVore, whether it's Kathy Salvi, whether it's the Illinois GOP. Bottom line, at the end of the day, the only way we're going to restore Illinois and make this into the state that we want it to be, the land of Lincoln, return it to the land of Lincoln, is that if we come together. Ryan, how's the job going?
It's going. gearing up for the next month or so for busy season.
You got a busy season ahead of you. So you were able to get off today. You took time off today, or this was your float day?
It was my day off. Yeah, my usual day off during the week.
So
one day. So I had a random day off during the week. That's what I asked for.
So Ryan, obviously a working class guy that you are, have you been able to do a lot with your podcast?
I have not yet. I did start Sunday night at 7.
Okay.
So I did have one episode. I have not done a lot with it, but I'm thinking Sunday nights will be the night I go on for an hour.
That's your sweet spot. Well, everyone out there, make sure you get to the Ryan Mack Show. So Ryan, anything else that you've collaborated with? Have you seen? You know, yeah, you and I haven't had a chance to talk since the shooting of Charlie.
I got Don Tracy's campaign coordinator card. I'm going to try to reach out to their campaign to get Don Tracy on at some point if I can to ask him questions. I wanted to know the same thing, from Aaron and Darren that I do from Don. What is your ground game getting Republicans to vote? Because as you know, Dick Durbin has the Chicago, in the bank. He has the Chicago politics and the name recognition for 30 plus years. Whoever is filling that seat is going to have all of his supporters, lumping right onto it. So
Juliana Stratton, obviously, is the candidate.
So they're working
there's a couple other candidates too.
So that's what I'm going to ask him about. And I know he has name recognition from leading the party in the past, but it's still statewide, and U.S. seats in this state are slim to none to come by. But it starts with a ground game. You got to know what you're doing.
Well, you know what? And that's a big part of it. I did see his volunteer coordinator. I guess he called himself volunteer coordinator, which once again, you're going to see a lot more of that: time, talent, and treasure. These people, candidates right now in Illinois under the Republican Party, they don't have an abundance of money. The current elected Republican General Assembly has no idea what they are doing. Well, we know that, Kat. See, Kat's on top of this. They're rudderless. They don't have a clear direction. In fact, they do have a clear direction. It's basically their direction they're going is to implode and bankrupt the state of Illinois. Not that you can be bankrupt more than once, but they seem to manage to do it. But Don Tracy as a candidate for U.S. Senate, there are a couple other people who have announced, like Comptroller Brian Drew. We needed a Secretary of State candidate. I don't know if anybody is out there is interested in taking on Alexi Julianis, but we need a Secretary of State candidate. That's the sad part. If you differentiate the state of Illinois versus the federal, I was just having this conversation. Think about this. If your lineup suddenly was J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, Vivek Ramaswamy, even Tim Scott's still out there, circulating, Kristi Noem, Tulsi Gabbard, Robert F. Kennedy, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, Howard Lutnick, Doug Burgum. I mean, how deep of a bench do you want to go? Let's see. Who do they have on the Democrat side? Well, they got Bernie.
Pete Buttigieg, AOC.
Don't forget Pete. Somebody else mentioned him. They said Pete's growing a beard out. He's trying to look like Abraham Lincoln.
Gavin Newsom.
The Gavin. Kamala and AOC might join up for
Tampon Tim.
Don't forget Jasmine. She's going to be out of a job, Crockett.
Yeah,
because they redistrict her right out of a job. So since she doesn't have a job, she'll have to go and get another job. So I'm sure she'll probably parlay into running for president, because it is lucrative. If you run for president and you actually collect money from people, they give you money. This is so wild. They give you money, and you yourself can use that money any way you see fit.
Yeah, you can even write a book.
Yeah, you can write a book. Yeah. So, I mean, you're right though in helping Don. That's critical. I mean, Don is definitely, I believe, going to be the person who comes out of the primary with the most votes for U.S. Senate on the Republican ticket. And
I think the biggest thing, the takeaway this time around, because we knew what we were up against, I think is the biggest thing is, like you said, it's the Republicans. Republicans don't vote in every election.
Yeah.
You can't begin to even campaign against JB's monster machine unless your own party supports your win and you compete as a grassroots movement. You got to turn out the votes. That's what it is. I've had people say, well, what about Chicago? We need somebody up Chicagoland area. We need somebody in Cook County. Okay.
Sounds like we got somebody.
Right. You can have somebody, But if they can't turn out the independents, the wishy-washy voters, it's not gonna matter. The votes for Democrats you're not gonna get. It's not about Cook County. It's about Republicans all across the state, no matter where they are.
And that has been the case for a long time. Unfortunately, we have imploded every time we get it. I mean, Rauner was kind of a blip,
Yeah, it was a crapshoot.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a blip, on the bigger screen of the control of the Democrat Party, who has utterly, a stranglehold on the General Assembly, as Kat just said. They have no clue what they're doing. But the Rauner wasn't. I mean, there still was such infighting, and the infighting of the Republican Party is North versus South.
Yeah.
We want to see who's going to have the most control, the fame, the prize seats of everything that is out there, which really is nothing. Because at the end of the day, as it's been told to me, if you have zero, or in this case, you have a super minority, and you come away from an election and you don't have any more seats, it sounds like you're in the same position you were in before the election.
Right. Yeah.
Well, if we don't gain any ground, then it's all for naught.
Yeah. Republicans in the General Assembly need to be more focused on gaining more seats rather than passing bills on their own time when they're in Springfield.
Yeah.
And stop handing crackers to Democrats in order to get something on a bill in your name.
So real quick before I take it off the stage here, I want to just double check here. Did you see this video of Darren coming in?
Yeah, I did. Hannah sent it in our group chat.
Did you hear my beautiful wife going woohoo? I think it's so cool. I mean, so let me give you a little background on what transpired. So we were the second stop today. The stop was to take place at 1:00. It started about excuse me, didn't get the cough button in time. It started about 12:15. I get a text message from the chief of staff who oversees some of these travels for the Bailey Del Mar campaign, and he informs me that they're running a few minutes late. We already had positioned a shuttle from the hotel DoubleTree. Did I mention DoubleTree and Barrel House? And what a magnificent job they did today. Thank you. Barrel House and DoubleTree right here in Bloomington. But they positioned a car, Chevy Tahoe, out at the Synergy, which is a private place for incoming flights, helicopters, small aircraft, private. And so we were ready to pick them up, and suddenly we had to shift because they were going to be delayed. Well, when they flew from Marion towards Bloomington, one of the things they realized, and it's not a very big helicopter, so it's not like he was in the, military helicopter, Air Force or Marine One. This is the budget rent-a-car, helicopter. Budget rent a helicopter, which really wasn't budget rental. It was Darren's son who was flying because he's a pilot, or I guess they still call them pilots. But as they proceeded to come north, the push of the wind, and usually when Zach is flying that helicopter, there's not you got the UFC fighter and you got Darren Bailey, who was not a wide receiver when he played high school football. And then you got Jose, who is the chief of staff. And the three of them, you add that additional weight, and suddenly the fuel gauge and the speed drops considerably. Darren says usually they make about 130 miles per hour, but with the weight capacity in the helicopter, it slowed them a little bit, needless to say. They had to stop in Decatur to refuel in order to get here. So why we have that wonderful video is I went to the general manager, I think he's vice president, Ray. Shout out to Ray at the DoubleTree and Barrel House. And I said, Ray, we got a situation. We're not going to need the car out the airport. They're going to try landing somewhere close by. Do you think we can land in your parking lot? They need a 50 by 50 area to land it. And he said, gosh, we got the conference center parking lot out the
There you
back.
go.
So he took a picture. I sent the picture, and the pilot, Zach, said, yep, I can put her down there. So what
awesome.
an amazing, I mean, the only way that could have been any better was if he was able to land in the front parking lot right near the barrel house where everybody was gathering and the media was there, because I think they would have said, holy moly, this guy is like Batman. You know, I love that video of that little girl asking Donald J. Trump if he was Batman. Yes, I am Batman. Darren and Aaron.
Look for WGLT headlines coming soon. We were all over the pictures and videos when we were talking to Darren, so I'm sure we'll get the front page paper.
What did Mrs. Producer say? What did you say, Mrs. Producer? What's the headline going to read from WGLT? I'll see if she puts it in the chat. She had a catchy one. And of course, it's going to be, you know, terribly negative and condescending to.
We were on the way home and we caught their news break on the radio. All they said, they played a clip of him talking about how, you know, things are going to be different this time around. The climate's better for the opportunity. And then they said, the only thing they said was, oh, and he lost by 12.5% last time. And then that clip to the next news clip. They didn't even, they went completely into a negative connotation.
They didn't mention anything about the Supreme Court ruling that they had to remove 800,000 people from the voter rolls, 800,000 inactive voters. And there's plenty more that they need to clean up their voter rolls, but they don't feel compelled to stay within the guidelines of the federal law and making sure that their voter rolls are clean, which could be part of the problem that we faced in the 2022 election. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. We want to overwhelm JB's ability to turn out the vote. And I was bringing this up to somebody, you know, fascinating thing. When JB went against Rauner was running for a second term as governor. JB was coming into the play for his first term. JB ended up with 2.5 million votes. Rauner about 1.8 million. So roughly 700,000 more votes than Bruce Rauner. JB was able to have submitted on his behalf. I'm not going to say cast because I don't know exactly how JB comes up with 2.5 million votes, but that's another. That's like Joe Biden coming up with 81 million.
Right.
Votes, right?
Yeah.
It's a mystery. It's a mystery. But so JB got 2.5 million in 2022 against Darren, even though he won by 12%, as the WGLT wants to point out. He only was able to get 2.2 million votes. So Mrs. Producer is sending it to me in a text message. No, she isn't. The quote both used when asked the partner with the other. I don't know. She says she's not going to share it with me. I don't know if she remembers it. She might. But 2.2 million votes. So what people won't talk about is the 300,000 votes that suddenly went away. If his popularity, which we hear that his approval rating is dropping, if JB indeed has lost steam, which based on his ability to go out there and lie to the people, like saying there's no crime in Chicago, and now you got Hakeem Jeffries saying that we need to model Chicago in the way that they handle crime. But if he lost
really well,
if he lost 300,000 votes from 18 to 22, if JB loses another 300,000 votes, and Darren is able to pick up 300, 400,000 votes, well, there's your 12% right there.
Yep.
Because see, an addition of Bailey votes and a subtraction of Pritzker votes isn't just 3,000, it's 6,000 moving, or 600,000, which is part of that 700,000 equation I'm talking about.
Yep.
If we can get either a loss in Pritzker votes or a gain in Bailey votes, this thing can change.
Yes.
And that's what we need to go out and work on.
The clear contrast and policy stance couldn't be any more polar opposite. You have a soft on crime, high tax governor and going out there lying about the administration that's currently in office. You have him lying about how things are in Illinois financially, and the more importantly than economy would be safety. And every state, people want to feel safe. You know, suburban people that work in Chicagoland, they want to go to work, they want to come home, they want to leave the city in one piece. What has JB and what has Johnson had to offer the state of Illinois the last 8 years?
Yeah.
Nothing.
What
You got the Safety Act. You've got releasing criminals out of the state. You've got a budget that has blown what, $20 billion in the last 8 years.
You've got schools underperforming. School choice isn't an option. You've got mutilating kids. You got DEI, which of course, or CRT, which they denied. Right? I remember going to a school board
and
meeting.
now you have a mental health screening that's going to be available for kids.
Oh, don't
across
forget that
the state.
mandatory. Yeah. Well, but it's not really mandatory. You can opt out, is what they say.
Yes.
No. No. And it goes on and on and on.
This is a clear cut disregard the the endorsements from Trump or anything like that. I don't think it means all that much in the end. This is on what Darren needs to do 2.0 to get ready to go after him again. And the contrast between who Darren is and who JB is completely opposite. And I think that hopefully it's bad enough that they wouldn't vote for a third term for JB. But it's hard to get a grip on the electorate in the state.
Here's the headline for the Panagraph. They're quick to get out there to make sure they covered it. Another very left-leaning, radical leftist paper. But let's see, what do they say here? Bailey, a farmer, which of course is intentional, right? Because farmers aren't smart people. They're not as sophisticated as the billionaire JB, who, but Bailey, the farmer and former state legislator, launched his campaign for the 2026 Republican gubernatorial nomination Thursday, arguing. I don't remember he was arguing. He was arguing. Illinois cannot afford another 4 years under J.B. Pritzker's failed leadership. Well, yes, newsflash, we can't. And Panagraph, I'm glad you put it in there, but he wasn't arguing. He was stating facts. We can't afford another 4 years of J.B. Pritzker. So let's see here. Oh, there's
Travis Weaver.
Yeah, Travis Weaver. I was just kind of curious of what's out there. Travis has got Ted Dombrowski. Oh my gosh, Travis. Listen, meet Illinois' next governor, Ted Dombrowski. 2 terms of J.B. Pritzker have overwhelmingly revealed is, oh my gosh, guys, solidify it. Travis is a good young man. I like him. Unfortunately, he was very pro Bailey first time around. And obviously he's not pro Bailey right now, but that's okay. He will be. And he'll come back around, and so will Ted. I mean, because as you said, Ryan, this is what we need to do. We need to make sure that we are creating a coalition of ideas. And I'm not going to say Ted Dombrowski is a conservative.
Right.
You're not going to get an argument here. Is he the person for the job of governor? No, he's not the person of the job. Oh, I did away with you, Ryan. There you are.
Yeah.
He's not. I'm sorry. It's just,
I love what he's done at Wire Points. It's a great source to go to for exposing corruption in the state. But like you said, it takes a special kind of person to really stand on principle. Who you stand for as a conservative. The days of partnering and hobnobbing with Democrats in this state need to end. You need to stand up and say, I'm pro-life, I'm pro-tough on crime, and I'm pro making everything affordable in Illinois again. And Bailey has been the only one to stand on his principles and not waver from just to kind of get votes from the other side. I could care less if he gets any leftist votes. You're not going to get the far left vote. We're looking for the ones who would like a change, but don't know where to go to. That's the ones we need to be looking at. And the ones that don't vote in every election. You need to vote in every election if you're not.
And like you mentioned, folks, granted, we get it. You weren't along with us in 22. And right now you don't want to go along with us in 26. But that's okay. We get it. We understood. You weren't with us in 22. And in fact, you were nowhere to be found. because as I've repeated this often, Richard Irvin, who was a trumped up party line candidate, establishment candidate, was funded to the sum of $15 million right out of the gate by Ken Griffin, who was the CEO owner of a company called Citadel, which was bankrolling Richard Irvin, which of course now Richard lost, and Citadel is no longer an Illinois corporation. It is a Florida corporation. Imagine that, based out of Miami. But there's not a Richard Irvin because there's not a Ken Griffin.
Right.
Had this conversation earlier. The biggest contributor to the Republican cause in Illinois is not even an Illinois resident. He's a Wisconsin resident, and that is Richard Dick Uihlein of Uihlein Shipping, Trucking, all the things Uihlein does. So there's not a Richard Irvin in the campaign. There's not even a Jesse Sullivan, because I want to remind you that Jesse Sullivan actually finished second by a very thin margin, but he did finish second. Richard finished third, then followed by Gary Rabine and Paul Schimpf. I don't believe we have a candidate outside of Darren Bailey, or we have a candidate opposing Darren Bailey that matches up to Gary Rabine or Jesse Sullivan or Richard Irvin. I don't want anybody to match up to Richard Irvin, because that was a terrible, terrible campaign. That all that did was wound the Republican Party.
Yes.
It was not good. In fact, Richard Irvin not only went after his campaign team, Richard Irvin's campaign team not only went after Darren, but he also went after Jesse very hard. And folks, that's not how we run campaigns. Get out there. Give us your vision of Illinois, of restoring Illinois, of making it the land of Lincoln. That's what we want to hear. Ted, I know you're capable of doing that. I want to hear your plan. And once again, Ted, if you win, we're on board with you. I'm on board with you. I'm going to proclaim it right here. Day one of Darren Bailey, Aaron Del Mar announcing they're running for governor. And later on today, you're going to be here in my hometown, showing up and telling the world what it is you're going to do. So I really am truly interested in what you're going to do.
Yeah. I think I've heard them all speak before. They're all the similar message. And, we all are in agreement that JB has been terrible for Illinois the last 8 years.
Yeah.
And why would you want another 4 years of it? Unlimited, because he can run as many times as he wants, even though he's going to run in 28 as a president. Fat chance of that happening, pun intended.
Yeah.
But I was seeing Kat's comment there about protesting and voting all together. Look, if you're mad because somebody you don't like is running again and potentially being the front runner, when are you going to grow up and stop acting like a toddler?
Yeah.
If you don't like what's happening in Illinois over the last 8 years, you're still willing to not vote because you don't like the candidate. But you complain about how things are going in Illinois. Make that make sense. But I was the voting thing she's talking about. I heard on the radio that somebody, I don't know what Democrat is proposing this, but compulsory voting, like countries Australia and others do, that basically mandating voting so that you don't have a choice to vote. That worked out really well the turn of the century when they built barrios in New York and Democrats dragged you to vote because you were an illegal immigrant to vote for them.
Well, protesting voting altogether is not the way to do it. Like I said, the math shows that it can be done. I mean,
sitting at home is a vote for JB.
Yeah. And not only that, Trump, if we perform like Trump did in 24, Darren Bailey and Aaron Del Mar will be the governor and lieutenant governor of Illinois. And somebody says, well, what can they get done with a broken, gridlocked or supermajority in the legislative branch? Well, first of all, there's an election every 2 years.
Yes.
You're now the governor, so you can put in place, your own systems of, executive orders. You can try to win back more of those state legislative seats. You can hold accountable the Illinois State Board of Election. You
Yep.
can make sure that your voter rolls are clean. You
There
can do a
are
plethora of things.
line item vetoes for budgeting. Aaron pointed to the fact that the entire state agency of the agency can be tossed. The agency heads. You can put your own qualified people in place to run these agencies rather than just a political appointee or a DEI hire at these appointed positions. They can put in their own group of people that can run these agencies. That's how you turn down some of the mud. But it's not going to happen overnight, like they said. But it's going to be a start. You have to get rid of the rot.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to move the General Assembly enough to make any difference, but you can do other things to make a real dent.
Well, I'm just looking through the chat real quick because I don't want to miss anybody. I am feeling it, Ryan. I don't know if you're feeling it. My throat started doing that thing again. I thought it was clear of it when the initial bout of allergens came around, ragweed.
Yeah,
now
I've had
I
a
know,
terrible time too.
Oh, now I know they're in the cornfields. The fields are alive with combines, and they are stirring up the air.
Yep.
And
What you need is a Mint Majesty with 2 honey.
What is it?
Just Mint Majesty with 2 honey.
What's in a Mint Majesty with 2 honey?
Go to Starbucks and ask for a Mint Majesty with 2 honey and put in the name as Charlie.
Okay. And
that was his
Charlie
drink.
in there?
Yes, that was his drink.
Mint Majesty.
Yes, Mint Majesty with 2 honey. That was for his throat.
Well, I need to do something for my throat. So Mint Majesty with 2 honey.
Yep.
And put it under Charlie. I'm going to do that. I will do that because we want to be mindful of that. Ryan, I'm glad you were able to jump on the show today.
Absolutely.
I'm losing speed with my throat. We have the Lincoln Day dinner tonight at the DoubleTree. Once again, if I haven't mentioned, the DoubleTree here in Bloomington is a fantastic place if you have out of town guests, or if you just want to take a little staycation, stay in town and go to a hotel, go to the DoubleTree. My friend Ray there, he'll set you up. You can eat at a wonderful restaurant, the Barrel House. They have adult beverages there too. But yeah, patronize them. They are gracious enough to host us today with the Bailey event, and they're good people. But we have the dinner tonight, and Ty Smith, yes, that's right, an American hero. Mark Levin. Ty Smith, American hero, will be there speaking as the keynote speaker. They are doing a special tribute to Charlie Kirk. I'm looking forward to that. And just being able to sit in a room with like-minded people and hopefully and that's what it's about. So Mrs. Producer and I will be there. We will be reporting back on Tuesday. It is already Thursday. Mrs. Producer and I have a very busy weekend. We're looking forward to that. We're going to get into more detail at a much later point, but Mrs. Producer and I are definitely busy.
I heard a snapshot. You guys are quite the busy couple.
We are the busy couple now. And as I reported, we put down our Bella last week, and so that's created a sizable hole that we're trying to fill in. We can't replace Bella. We know that all dogs go to heaven, and she was an amazing pet to have. She was definitely man's best friend. She was my best friend. Next to Mrs. Producer. Mrs. Producer is my best friend. Bella was my friend that I was away from the house with on walks at least twice a day for 9 years. She was a year old when we got her, about a year old. So I was doing the math on that. Let's see. 9 years, 365 days, 2 days a week, 2 walks a day. That's a lot of walking, Ryan.
Yeah. Yep.
You kind of become best friend. I know they say it's man's best friend, but yes, no, my best friend is Mrs. Producer. I couldn't live life without her. I couldn't do the show without her. Ryan, hopefully we can get you back soon again.
Yes.
Let us know. Hopefully a Tuesday or Thursday, your day matches up and we can get you back on the DPB show.
Absolutely.
If you'd like to, Ryan, you go ahead and pray us out.
Yeah. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for another day on planet Earth. Today we come to you and bringing our country together, our state together, and your protection over us. Watch over us, guide the Bailey campaign, give him the wisdom and the Holy Spirit as he takes on another round of politics. To this, we owe you everything. Amen.
Amen. Amen. It's all about Jesus, as Charlie would say. It's all about
Mhm.
Jesus. Not today, Satan. You're not going to win. That says it opened up the show. We are rising from the ashes. This is a good sign. We've got Darren Bailey, Aaron Delmar. We've got momentum. We've got a mission. We're on a mission from God. And I believe wholeheartedly that it's time to change where we're at in the state of Illinois. Thank you, sister, for joining us. I see my friend Tanya just jumped in the chat. This time is now. Yeah, the time is now. It's go time. Amen. Thank you,
Mhm.
sister. Love you. Amen. Amen. All right, Ryan, I know that I love them. I love my audience.
I love you guys.
But Jesus loves you more, as my friend Tanya says often. But we'll be back on Tuesday. If you hear anything, please pass it on to us. You can always comment on any of the content, whether at the Ryan Mack Show, Ryan's Facebook page, the DPB Show, the Conservative Cat Show, the Modern Renaissance Man. I know we'll probably get some clips from the Modern Renaissance Man. He's live on stage tonight at the Lincoln Day dinner. Don't forget my friend Kevin Ferris. He's still out there putting out material with Speechless at Liberty University. Don't forget about our talented young people who are out there, and they truly are our future. But we're going to be back on Tuesday. And until then, I bid you farewell.